Hello, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, with another episode of Ask Dave. This is motivated by a query that I got from Tim Desmond, KI5OUN, and I want to address a couple things about some difficult grounding issues. My main grounding video was made a long time ago. It's Ask Dave number 8. And you can go back and refer to that. Also, the ARRL has a book called Grounding and Bonding, which is an excellent discussion of all the things you need to do. One of the things about grounding and bonding is that it is covered in some detail in the National Electric Code. It's also covered in a Motorola handbook for remote communication stations. And there's a lot of shall do this and shall not do this, and upon pain of death, do this, and so on in those books. So you're not going to find as much of a sort of a ham radio-ish by guess and by golly, whatever works, I'm going to put up my antenna with masking tape. It's a lot more cut and dried. Now, let's look at what you need to have in your station. This is the side view of your station, your roof here. You've got your station here. You've got a ground rod out here. Okay, this is a ground rod. You've got a single point of ground, which I'll just make I have my single point ground for my station's a copper pipe about that long. Grounding anywhere to that is grounding to the central point ground. There is a wire coming out here to this, okay. And then I have all my lightning arresters on here. So all my cables come out and connect to these lightning arresters. Now, lightning arresters go outside. Not inside, not in a basement, not on a basement wall, not on a garage wall. They go outside. It's very important. There can be a lot of energy there in the event of a lightning strike trying to find its way down to the ground rod and out, okay? So you want these outside. And then your cables can go on inside. Now, of course, they'll be grounded via the equipment again to that same ground rod. Will that create a ground loop? Actually, I've not seen it do that because you're all grounded together, very well grounded. Okay, now you have an electric utility, and they've got a panel here so they can charge you lots of money, okay? We're paying about 16, 17 cents a kilowatt hour out here in the wilderness. Okay, and this has a ground and a ground rod. Now, you are supposed to bond these ground rods, meaning that there needs to be a connection between here and here. This should be number 6 wire, stranded, uninsulated. Okay, and this should be a compression joint. The reason for the compression joint is you don't want anything that is in lightning's path to be soldered, because the wire will, for a very short instant, get extraordinarily hot, and it will boil the solder away, and it can be a rather explosive mix where that solder blows off explosively. So you want a compression connection which will hold through that short period of time that it's very hot. The other thing that you can do is there are little devices that have got thermite in them, and you can get these at electrical supply houses. And you put this over the rod with the wire through it that you want welded, and it will do copper to copper copper weld on this thing with thermite. Now, obviously, you only do those outside because there is fire, and until the fire stops, it is a thermite fire. And there's nothing you can do to put out a thermite fire. You can pour all the water on it you want, and it will not go out. It'll burn underwater. Okay, and even if you smother it, it'll still burn because it produces its own oxygen. So it's just going to burn. So it'll burn enough to weld the copper wire to copper to the copper outside of the ground pole. Now, if this is a long length, okay, this is your bare minimum. Okay. Now, if this is a long length, you might want to put some extra ground rods in here if you're really concerned about it. Ideally, this circles the house, but our houses are not remote communications facilities. They're homes. Okay, so simply grounding that to that is good. If you got a tower out here, the tower should be grounded with ground rods, and there should be something connecting here. Okay, by the way, the more grounding you do, the less noise you're going to have, and the stronger your signal will be. Okay, now, if you've got way over on the other side of the house is your utility ground over here, how do you get from here to here? Well, you may have to go the long way around. You should bury the wire because it will kind of act as a ground wire, a ground rod as it goes. And periodically putting in, in that grounding and bonding book, it will tell you how close these should be together. And you can put that all the way over there. It'll work just fine. Each tower leg should have its own ground. And then you put a loop of this number 6 ground wire here and goes there. Now, this wire, that wire, this is the wire that connects your interior ground single point to your station ground. This is your station ground here. This is the utility ground here or here. This should be something that conducts RF very easily. And so that's why it's often a copper strap or something like that. Now, if you go to like a box out on the side where you've got your lightning arresters and so on, the ground between here and here should be copper strap also, so it can carry the RF. RF, and I might add high voltage, likes to live in the outside of a conductor. So if you make the conductor flat to where there is no outside, then you've got lots of nice surface area for this to flow on. Okay, so that will take care of that. So there you go, just a couple things. We never run ground wires inside or under basements or anything like that. It is all outside. We should be putting the lightning protector as close to the point where the wires enter the house. Okay? Keep your grounds bonded to each other so that the whole system voltage rises and falls at the same time. Otherwise, if you get lightning over here and there's none over here, the voltage difference between this can be very high, and it can ruin any equipment that is straddling the two. Okay, hope that helps. So, feed the algorithm for YouTube and subscribe, and click like and leave a comment. If you have any questions, please leave a comment on the video, and also you be sure to watch my Thursday evening live stream. And until we next meet, 73.